And welcome to episode 66 of the Gaslec podcast. And thank you very much indeed for listening and for watching on Spotify, on YouTube as well. I haven't managed to get sorted the second lot of digits, so we're 65 and 1 because I don't have two sixes in the numbers, the thingamabob there. So if anybody knows how I can just get a set of numbers, because trust me, I have a very big set of letters. I've got hundreds of them. But only one set of numbers. So I think we could probably spell out the New Testament of the Bible there. I've got so many. But yeah, if anyone's got any ideas and where I can get some numbers from, just so I can duplicate them up there, obviously every 10 weeks, I suppose it'll be, yeah. So anyway, more about the podcast. So in this week's episode, we've got some more of our listeners and viewers' questions that be answered. And there's quite a few questions that have actually come through, quite surprised me. And there's some personal ones in there as well, which I'll get answered for you guys that might be interested. Don't know why, but yeah, some people are. There we are. But first of all, here's my friend Sean to tell you a bit more about the podcast. Are you a new person coming into plumbing and heating? Are you a homeowner that likes a bit of DIY? Or are you a business owner and wanted a bit more knowledge before you make some decisions on your plumbing and heating? Stay tuned to the podcast and hopefully we'll be able to help you out with some of your questions. And welcome back, guys. Thank you. You may have already guessed it's actually me there. So there ain't two Seans there, it's just myself. But you know, I like a bit of a laugh and a giggle. So I've got a bit of a theory really on the gas boiler ban of 2035. Obviously there's a lot of stuff going on with the Labour government that come in last year and all this extra taxation that's happening and all this spending cutbacks and the junior doctors or whatever they're called going on strike because they want another 28% pay rise, etc., etc. But I'm not going to get political about that. And so the whole gas agenda sort of gone off the radar a little bit. But I've got a bit of a theory for you guys. So the Labour government have got to have a general election before August 2029. And at the moment here in the UK, the Reform Party, headed up at the moment by Nigel Farage, like him, loathe him, not indifferent down the middle, at the moment looks like from his very strong policies. I don't think he's got a very sort of around policies about everything about, education and the health service. At the moment, he's just going about migration. There's lots of tension at the moment within the media and protests as well outside of hotels that's going on as I do this recording. Now, however you see it and however you want to sort of view it, that's down to you guys. I'm not going to go into that. But what's interesting that a lot of people are saying if we had an election now, the Reform Party with Nigel Farage would actually win and beat the Conservatives and Labour. So my theory is that actually the whole net zero thing with Nigel Farage is unachievable. And this 2025 thing we've got coming up, 2035, of all gas boilers not being able to buy new. So we still have gas in the houses, we'll still be able to repair them, we'll still be able to maintain them, but we won't be able to physically buy a whole new boiler from 2035. Well, obviously, the Labour government's term technically finishes in 2029, so it's 6 years sort of prior to this coming on board. And what I can see happening is that date will get pushed on and that won't be achievable. And they're in a big push for heat pumps at the moment. And there's lots of kickbacks with lots of complaints about heat pumps being installed by a bunch of cowboys. And unfortunately, like anything, it's exactly the same with solar panels. As soon as you get this new big sort of revolution coming through in anything, there'll always be these cowboys that come roaring up through the ranks. They're getting their qualifications on the double quick. They're slinging it in left, right and centre. The bubble will burst. They'll then wind up a limited company. They'll then run back to Spain with all the money and all of the liabilities and all the crap is left behind. So that's what you're starting to see within the industry at the moment. So so I can just see that potentially this 2035 ban won't actually come into force. I think the date will get pushed on and knocked down the road a bit further. Hopefully there'll be some sort of like a biomethane gas that could be sort of produced. No doubt somewhere in the world somebody's looking at getting green methane from sort of rotting fruit and vegetables and cow poo and stuff like that, and actually capturing it. And is there a way we can put this down the pipes? Because the gas network are spending hundreds of millions of pounds on putting brand new gas pipes down every single street. What's that, for the next 10 years? And every house is getting a brand new pipe, because the old gas pipes, which were in steel, they may be leaking, they may not be leaking, but the hydrogen atom is actually a lot smaller. The molecules are smaller than in methane. So you could get no leaks on methane, but you could get leaks on hydrogen. And I do wonder if there's going to be some sort of maybe green hybrid blend of the gases that are going to be announced as an option to come through, which would then lead into a bit of a conspiracy theory of everyone's quiet on hydrogen, no one's saying nothing because they're trying to push the heat pump agenda as far down the road as they can. So that's my theory on 2035 and the ban on gas boilers. So I put some questions out onto social media, like if you've got any questions. I did it last week as well. Give us a shout and bring us back in. Obviously, this time of year, we've got no heatings on. It's very warm. It's at the moment, I think, about 25 degrees outside. Recording on Sunday, the 3rd of August. I'm getting this recorded after a few computer technical problems, but we seem to have got over those okay. So yeah, we've actually got more questions I can actually answer, and I'll do I've got my little timer down here. So if you do see me look down, it's just because I'm checking my timer, because I did go on for about 37 minutes last week. So I'm going to try and keep it a little bit on the shorter side. So here's a few questions. So someone emailed us, how can I find and retain good clients within the plumbing industry? So this sounds like it's somebody that's already in the industry and struggling to find those good clients. So there's no real magic formula. So here at Gaslec, we do have some great clients. And we have some transient clients that you'll hear from them once and never again. You'll do a job for them. Let's say they come from Facebook, and you'll see, I don't know, Mrs. Miggins from the pie shop as the name. And you go and do a job for them, and then in 6 months later, they've got another job, and they're putting exactly the same post out on social media asking for another plumber. And it does make me think, well, if they were happy with what we did for them, and they paid the bill and they left us a lovely review across any of the platforms, then why didn't they sort of call us back? If we've already got that relationship with us, where we've turned up when we said, and there's all the technology, there's the certification, there's the reports, there's the photos all done for you, then why keep moving around from pillar to post all the time? But I've never really got to the bottom of that. But I think the real way to find good clients, I think it's just by chance and by luck. And to retain them, I just think you've got to do what you say you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and as best you can, and exceed the client's expectations. And I really do think that when you say, I'll be there, first job 8 o'clock, and you're there for 8, I'll bring some bits with me, and you come there, and you're pleasant, polite, you smell nice, you're dressed smartly, your van outside's looking okay, and then you get the job done and dusted, and then you walk away, and then you take the payment, and off you go in a happy little round circle, and they interact with the office, and that whole circle, that whole system from phone call to completion and payment is all done and dusted, and they get a receipt for their payments. And I think when you get customers that can appreciate that, I think they'll then stay as loyal clients. So yeah, I think it's just doing what you'll say you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and exceed their expectations. I think it's probably the answer to that one. Another one's come in, so I can't remember if this was the same person or somebody else. It might have been one for the plumbing forums. Should plumbers do emergency call-outs? So it all depends what you mean by emergency call-outs. So here at Gaslec, we don't do emergency call-outs. We don't do after hours emergency call-outs. We've got no one on call. At the moment, we only work Monday to Friday. We may go into a Saturday rota basis moving on as business grows. But my thing has always been that I'm recording this on a Sunday, the 3rd of August. I was here yesterday doing some other bits for the business as well. Now, if we've got guys that are out working, then I can't actually switch off doing what we're doing. So we could, the admin team don't have to be in as such to do that. But me as the business owner, I've got an area of responsibility with Gaslec being the size it is at the moment, to be on call for the technical help, to place the order in at whatever, a screw fix, to go and pick something up because the plumbers merchants are all shut from 12 o'clock on a Saturday. So should you do emergency calls? You don't have to. There are plenty of people out there that do it, but all I'll say is just be transparent with your clients. And if you do it, put it on there if it's genuine. A lot of people put it on there and they turn their phone on to silent all evening. And then if they then get a call that comes in, it doesn't wake them up. So they can advertise the 24-hour emergency call-outs, but not actually. That's not actually the case. And I do know of a company in Medway that do that, and they let one of their customers down. So I won't go into that, but yeah, and I think that's their strategy onto sort of duping people over to them that, don't worry, if you're one of our customers, we've got an emergency phone line for you, but you give that a ring at midnight, no one will answer the phone. So anyway, that's enough of my gripe about that one. So somebody asked me, what's my favourite way to spend a day off? So I had a good think about this, really. So I do have too many hobbies. So probably I have more hobbies than I can actually fit in. So I think if you boiled it down to a common denominator to all of my hobbies, they are either floating or with wheels, and all are outdoors. So I think if you take from that, if there was a skateboard, I'd jump on it. If there was a motorbike, I'd ride it. If there was a push bike, I'd ride it. If there was a stand-up paddleboard, I'll be on it. If there was a bit of scuba diving, I'll be in it. If there was a bit of swimming, I'm not a very good swimmer, but I'd have a good go on it. If you had a jet ski, I'd do it. So yeah, there's a couple of things I wouldn't do, like quad bikes. They tip over and try and kill you every corner you go into. So I'm not interested in that. I love flying. Once again, outdoors. You wouldn't get me in a microlight. Long story about that one, quite sad. You wouldn't get me in a hot air balloon or what we call whirlybird, which is the old helicopters. Can't stand helicopters, but you get me up in a hang glider, a paraglider. You get me up in a light aeroplane, awesome, I love it. So I think best way to spend my day off is probably just outside. I'm not a big fan of the old artificial lights, even though the old LEDs have come on a long way. I like the fresh air. I go with my eldest son, we go fishing. So we're outdoors, love it. Go to bed when it gets dark, wake up when it gets light. Love all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there we are. So that's how I like to spend my day off. So what's your personal skills or talents that not many people know of? So, yeah, a bit of an odd one, that one. So a couple of weeks ago, we were supporting the Darling Banks picnic event and the charity this year was bowel cancer. So there was quite a long story and quite a sad story of why the bowel cancer charity was chosen for this year. And we raised just under £7,000, I think, for the charity, which was lovely. It was a lovely day out. The weather was really kind to us as well. The predictions on it were terrible, but it actually worked out lovely in the end. So one of the things there is that I used to do a bit of juggling, and I can ride a unicycle. So anything sort of clowny, I quite like, actually. So there was like this jester guy with his juggling clubs, and he was either goofing about or he was not very good at juggling. I don't know which one it was because he'll go, I've dropped him. So I don't know if he's a really good juggler or he was just messing. I don't know. But I walked up and said, can I have a little spin on those? So I got the clubs out and had a little bit of a juggle. So sort of lit a bit of a fire back in there. I used to do a bit of 3 ball juggling, 3 club juggling, a little bit of poi. Never got on with devil sticks. Could never work them fellas out. But that sort of thing, I really do. I think it's that hand-eye coordination thing, and it really does focus the mind in what you're doing, because juggling is only catching and throwing at the end of the day. So yeah, a lot of people might not know that, so there we are. What's my favourite holiday destination? So actually, me and Mrs. Gaslec, we do love a cruise. So we've been all around, and I do love a motorcycle adventure around Europe as well with the lads. So my favourite holiday destination, I suppose, would be probably one of the most poignant places, because I didn't have any idea on the place. And we'd finished the cruise, and then we was in a place called Genoa, which is northern Italy, right at the top of the Mediterranean. And we got the bus around to this place, and people have mentioned this place before. And then we got on another bus. We was with the outlaws and the kids as well, and we got on this, and we went to this place. And I had no idea on the place, good, bad, or indifferent. The weather was beautiful, and it was called Portofino, and in Italy. And I'd say that was the most beautifulest place I've ever been to. It was absolutely stunning. But I've been to some lovely places on some bike trips. I've been into Austria, done some of the passes there, been through the Pyrenees, been through Andorra, which is lovely. So a lovely place we went to was Bordeaux. I really like Bordeaux. Went round the area around by the Nürburgring. That was lovely, all lovely and green and outdoorsy there. And the roads were really sort of flowing and nice around that way. So yeah, I've been out and about and done some things. Canada was lovely. We did that on a cruise last year, and around the Nova Scotia area, and ended up in Quebec. That was absolutely stunning. I'd happily go back to sort of Canada there. So they're my favourite holiday destinations. There we are. So, how do you deal with an upset client? So, I suppose if someone's not happy with what you've done, or they was expecting something else, so there was a bit of a miscommunication there. So, we had a gas rerun for a client. So I went out there and said, okay, we got a gas leak. It's been cut off. Well, okay, we can just run the new gas pipe just straight to the boiler, nowhere else. Happy days, done. So we can come out of here, come across down under the window, up by the drain pipe, through the wall, around the bedroom a little bit, into the boiler cupboard, done, because the boiler cupboard was like inside, not the middle of the house, but it weren't on an outside wall, and the boiler flue went through the roof. So when we turned up, it wasn't me who did it, it was someone else on the team that did the job. And then they said, actually, we can run it this way, we can run it that way. What do you want to do? And the lady chose what she wanted at the time, and then the job was done. So when it then come round to the invoice, she wasn't happy with the way it looked. And she said, I think it's dangerous, or it's this, that. So I goes back out there and I looks at the job and it's like, it's just slightly different to the way we spoke about, but there was an option given to you, sort of run it here or run it there, and you've chose it there. So, it's safe, it's within legislation, within the rules of gas safe. So basically what I'm trying to get at, we sort of went round a few little circles with it, and it's like, well, what now do you want? Do you want us to move the pipe to make it happen? Yes. So we ended up moving the pipe down to where we actually discussed it initially, but not where she sort of agreed to have it afterwards. So how do we deal with customers? I think it's really finding that common ground of what they actually want, what was actually spoke about and discussed, and see if we can find some middle ground with that. Sometimes you may get clients we don't really get in here at Gaslec. I think we filter them out quite well. Somehow, I'm not too sure on the system how we do that, but where you get people, let's say we go and fit a brand new boiler for them, and then they say, I didn't want an ideal, I wanted a glowworm, or I wanted a Worcester, not a Valent, and you fitted the completely wrong boiler. We've not had any of that, and people trying to pull farces and stuff on quite big jobs. But I suppose you just got to be on your quotes. You got to be sort of clear and concise of what you're going to do, what the job is, and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So I think a better worded quotation can actually solve. It brings up the questions early on, actually, and then communicating what the job is down to the team as well. So there's no ifs, buts, or maybes. So we learned a lot from that one. Onto the feedback we got from the client in the end. So then we go round, and then I think it was last week actually we went round and serviced her boiler. So with all of that was said, then clearly she's still using us for the rest of the property and the rest of the gas works in our house. So we're all done there. We're all playing happy families, as it were. So what's the best advice in business I've ever received? So, what's my best bit of advice I've ever received? I think really it boils down to being hard work and determination. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's lots of little sayings that you hear about left, right, and centre. Burn your hands worth two in the bush and all that. I don't even know what that means, but that sort of stuff. You got these little quotes. That's what I was looking for. But I think it's really having that determination of this is where we are. That's where I want us to be in a year's time. Let's get that achieved. They say you overestimate what you can do in a year, but you underestimate what you can do in 10. Something along those sort of lines, where you just set your goal, set your vision, set your target, and then go, right, okay, let's going to work towards that. So hopefully that answers that. What is the vision for the future of Gaslec? So, someone's asking a lot of questions here, aren't they? So, the vision of the future of Gaslec. So, I'll share this with the team. There's no secrets. I used to keep everything a little bit on the guarded side. Doesn't really help, does it? If you're trying to steer a ship and you can't steer the ship because you got to go on holiday and someone's then steering, they don't know where they're going. So, we just tell the team, this is my goals, this is our ambitions, this is what I want to do for us as a company and for us as a team. And then we want to do, 52 weeks a year holiday for everybody. I don't know. Obviously all paid, and all the little perks and the benefits. And I've got some little ideas that I want to really give back to the guys, onto the team. Obviously we're still quite a small company, so sort of structuring supervisors and trainees at the minute, we're not there with that. We're not big enough. But ultimately, with the team members that have been on, they understand how sort of the ethos and the ethics of Gaslec and of my own standards that we need as well. They adopt and bring those on. So as we bring some new team members through, they're going to sort of induce that Gaslec charm into them as well. So no secrets and no surprises. So that's what really the future of Gaslec is. So how do I deal with stress? And this will be the last question, guys. I realise I've rattled on for a little bit. How do I deal with stress? So I think through my hobbies, I like to put things in boxes. So we've got another van. And so I've had to do, we've got units 6 and 7, and they're not all done. So we're still doing some bits in the storerooms. I've got another van, so I need to do a bit of racking in that, and then chopping up some bits of wood and making that ready to get to work. So what I've been doing is like, okay, I've got all this admin to do, I've got this to do, this to do. I can only do so much, and I'm being pulled in too many places. So, okay, 5:30. right, okay, that's done. I've now got to go downstairs and do some sorting and get some wood out, and then I'll press on till 9 o'clock, and that'll be my cut off. So then it's almost putting things in little boxes and go, right, this is what I need to do for that. Okay, I've run out of time because I could spend days doing that. So now I've got to move on to this next task and then see if I can get that completed. Or a good section of that completed, so that makes it feel easier for the guys for the next day or the day after or the day after. So so I think handling stress is not, for me personally, is not trying to deal with everything all at the same time. It's just putting it into little boxes, and then we can go, right, okay, that's that so far. Fold the lid on that box. Let's get the next box out, open the box up. Let's see what we got to do there. So yeah, and yeah, I think that's the way I deal with it really. And then I go playing outside on motorbikes or in the water, or going for a walk with the dog up the woods, or watching the sunrise on a beach somewhere as well. So that sort of thing really. That's sort of just get me out into nature. So what are we up to next week? So we've got more staff holidays. It's the holiday season for everybody, and certainly here at Gaslec. So we've got some more people going off this week, and we've got some people coming back from holiday as well in the team. So I don't like to say who's on holiday in case, you know, something happens to their home because they're not there, or I'm a bit guarded where it comes. I'm a bit of a private person when it comes to telling the world I'm on holiday, putting it all over Facebook. I'm a bit nervous about that. So you always end up finding out when I've been on holiday or when I get back. And if the staff members want to tell everybody they're on holiday, that's down to them. But I'm not going to sort of name them and call them out really, just in case. Yeah, I don't want nothing horrible to happen. So what we got on next year, we've got a full heating system going into a little flat. This is a house being broken up into two, so they've got 2 gas meters going in, and we've got a little heating system going into the flat off a little combi board. It's a little glowworm 28 kilowatt stainless steel heat exchanger, 5-year warranty, lovely little bit of kit. We've got a full installation of an air conditioning system into 2 rooms going on next week as well, and we've got 22 service and landlord checks so far this week. So quite a few bits going on, which was going to keep everyone absolutely busy. And you think, you know, we're in the beginning of August, without going through the data of last year, year before, you know, Gaslec has grown and grown as a company. And, you know, I'm really proud of where we've come to as a team, as a business, and where we're moving to. So, right, okay, guys, that's 27 minutes. That's a little bit longer than I should normally be rattling on for. Thank you very much indeed for listening. And next week, we'll do a giveaway. So if you've made it so far into this recording all the way through to the end, genuinely, I do thank you a lot. It does help the algorithms. It does help the way things are going, and we're trying to improve the podcast with all the show notes and all the SEO stuff that goes around with it as well. But hopefully your questions I read out and got them answered on the show. You take care. Have a great week. Oh, if you need to email us, podcast@gaslec.net. And if you know anybody that could benefit from the podcast, any plumbers out there, any DIYers out there, just share the pod just to one person. That'll mean the world to me. You take care, guys. Thank you very much. Goodbye.